All right, bro. Before we start, I gotta say you're gonna have to look after me on this one.
I am? Okay, what do you need?
You're gonna have to rein me in, make sure I don't spin out of control, try to keep me as objective as possible. I can't have another episode 8 review on our hands here.
Okay. Yeah, don't worry. I got you.
Thanks, man. Okay. So what'd you think of the film?
I loved it, man.
It was a 12 out of 10 for sure.
For sure.
Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well, and welcome to the Star Wars Reading Club movie review of Solo, a Star Wars story. And despite what you just heard, we're going to try to give you an objective review here, as best we can. And when I say we, I'm also here with my brother, if you just want to say hi.
How's it going, guys? And thanks for having me again.
No problem, happy to have you here.
It's like we're doing one of these every couple months now.
Well, the thing is, too, it was a good time to be a Star Wars fan because you had the episode 8 back-to-back with Solo, but now we're going to have to do the painful wait until episode 9, which is December 2019. So we're going to have a wait ahead of us here, but we were saying before, this is our 10th Star Wars film in theaters together, so we've gone to double digits now at this point.
Yeah, so that goes back, a few years.
Yeah, to the special editions.
Fun times.
So we're gonna talk about Solo here. I don't even know where to start. Again, what I'll do is I'll just give our initial thoughts. Again, we just got back. We're filming this the night of the 24th. It's midnight here. Bear with me if I'm a bit tired, but I think we're both on a high like we usually get after going to the theaters for a Star Wars film. But we'll give our early thoughts. And what I'll do is I'm going to do a live hangout this Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern time on the channel. By then, I'll be able to dive into the visual guides and the art of and the different materials that have been out by then. But let's give our initial thoughts. And maybe we'll just start, I'm going to say, for all the controversy leading up to it, I enjoyed the heck out of this film, and I think that they pulled it off to a great extent.
Yeah, I mean, same with me. I'm in the exact same boat as you are, and I think that was the first thing I said to you. It's like, there was controversy with this movie. I mean, I would have never guessed it.
It was almost, and there was a lot too. I think, as I understand it, I didn't keep up with it 100%, but I think they reshot the movie, like 90% of the movie at one point.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah, that's very surprising.
I have the same, and I have like goosebumps as I'm talking about it now. It's I feel in a better place with this movie than I did after episode 8. I'm almost in the same position as Rogue One.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's such a difference between the Star Wars saga films, the episode 7, episode 8, and the standalone Rogue One and Solo now. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't worried about it, but there was the whole question, who asked for a Solo film? What are they going to do with these standalone Star Wars films? I just wanted, and maybe just to get into expectations, I purposely kept them very low. I wanted to do perhaps like a bit of a Solo week and dive into the EU and the Legends materials and maybe compare, but I didn't. I apologize, guys. That probably would have been a lot of fun to do, but I'll make it up to you guys out there with some upcoming events. But nonetheless, I just wanted to go and enjoy a Star Wars film.
Yeah, the same with me. And you say you purposely kept them low. Mine were just low.
Yeah,
like they were just low. I was not. I'll say it. And you guys know from the other reviews, and I'll just say it again. I'm more of a casual, maybe your average fan.
Whereas I'm probably a little bit more above average.
I'd say you're a little bit more. I mean, looking at the bookshelf over there that's right across from me, I'd say you're a little bit more than I am. But I still love Star Wars. But they were just low. Yeah. I mean, the trailer, the Super Bowl,
right?
You still remember probably. That was the first time I got a little bit excited for this film. But I was like one of the people you were saying, who asked for a Han Solo film? I mean, I wasn't too excited. So it blew my expectations out of the water.
Yeah, and
I'm just totally.
See, I wasn't worried about it back in like right after episode 8, but I just didn't want to have another disappointing Star Wars film. Mm-hmm. But when the trailer came out, I have to admit I was pretty pumped seeing some of the scenes, which we'll get into in a bit here. But yeah, all I wanted was basically a heist movie that involved Han Solo, the Star Wars universe as I understood it, Lando, and it was just a fun film. The audience was different this time too. It was like we all went along for the ride. It was so much fun. But Maybe it was too. It was funny. I'll just as a bit of an aside. This was the first time I've ever experienced it in the theaters. But they started playing the wrong film. They started playing Deadpool 2.
I know, and you even turned to me and asked if we were in the wrong.
I'm not gonna
theater.
say I panicked a bit, but I was like to my brother. I'm like,
get out of here?
yeah, are we in the right theater? We gotta go find Solo. Luckily, everyone else was doing the same thing. And we made it to like 2 minutes into Deadpool 2 before they realized and switched it up. But got off to a little bit of a shaky grounds. I just want to say. Let's get into, just before we start going through some of the tone and characters, the name drops. And I was wondering if you were picking them up to the same extent. I didn't think that you would catch all of them, but I thought, from watching the videos or just listening to me, there were so many name drops of different planets, characters. And it's not just name drops. Like, for example, Bosk. They mentioned Bosk, which maybe shouldn't be too surprising since it involved a group of smugglers to name a bounty hunter. But like, Lando just casually drops basically the death of Aurra Sing in the story. So,
I mean, as a more casual fan, I was picking up on them too. Yeah. I mean, I watch usually most of your videos.
So I like how you pulled back from all.
Not quite all of them, but a lot of them. So I have seen my fair share of Star Wars videos and information out there. I was rolling with them too. I mean, the Boss one, the Aurra Sing one, I can't tell you everything about them, but I was definitely picking up on them. And when they were talking about Jabba and all that stuff going on.
Yeah.
So that was exciting for me too.
At one point, I almost had to take a step back and get back into the film because I was thinking of like all these different names and trying to just focus on that for a second, but I kind of settled down. I loved that. Just some other ones that I wrote down quickly was just it was the Maw, which I loved. A huge, area connected to the Kessel Run in Legends. The Pike Syndicate, Coronet City on they've confirmed that already in the canon, but just to hear them in the film was incredible. Maybe too is a good time to when we talk about name drops or maybe characters showing up unexpectedly. What did you think of the whole Darth Maul situation?
That definitely took me by surprise. I knew once I saw the hood, like who she was talking with.
Right.
Kira. Kira. I kind of figured it was probably someone who was a dark side user or maybe a Sith. I didn't know who, but then the voice kind of gave it away a little bit. But then actually seeing when he took the hood off, then actually seeing Darth Maul on screen, that was pretty cool for me. I think it was I don't know if perfect's the right word. Perfect choice for like
because we were talking about who it could have other been.
You could have used
Maul.
Vader there. Or...
Yeah, those probably as cool as it would be to have like a Vader or an Emperor show up. Darth Maul just makes the most sense for stories with Kira going forward. Not to brag, but right as soon as I heard that voice, I was just like, oh my God, Darth Maul. And I didn't know too much of the Crimson Dawn Syndicate, which was the whole, what Kira and what was his name again? Dryden. Yeah. I don't know too much. They're brand new, I think, now with this movie. I think they were in a bit of Last Shot as well. But anyway, the Darth Maul reveal was probably what got the audience excited the most. Yeah. I think that had the biggest reaction in the crowd.
That was just like a cool moment.
It was a cool moment.
It wasn't up there with the Darth Vader scene in Rogue One, at least for me.
Right.
It'd be very hard to top that. Maybe even comparing it isn't fair. But that was a cool scene that you're just like, wow.
Where are they going?
Yeah,
we'll talk about it when we get to Kira in a bit here, but...
that was good.
And when
choice.
He said, like, meet me on Dathomir, I was going to check to see how much time was left. I was like, where are we? How far are we going into this? But the Darth Maul and all the other name drops was so cool. It was so cool. But right away, the thing that I noticed, and one of the things that I wanted to was, I didn't necessarily just want, and this is where I think maybe, as I understand it, where the initial shooting might have fallen down a bit and why they made the choice to start reshooting and redoing a bunch of things. As much as I wanted, I knew I was going to get the Han and Lando experience, but again, I didn't really necessarily want I said Han, like how Lando would say it in the film. But I didn't want like a Han and Lando buddy movie.
Yeah, me neither.
I wanted more. I wanted to know some of the minor characters a bit more. But the thing that I wanted too was just a dark movie. We're in the heart of the Empire, in the Imperial era. the Empire's been in place for about 10 years. They're still going to be in place for 10 years plus. So I really wanted a dark, grimy, like let's feel how much of a stranglehold the Empire has.
Yeah, this is kind of the time when they're flexing their muscle, right? So
Absolutely.
you want to see that. And do you think we got that in Rogue One as
I
much?
think so. That's one of the things that I liked about Rogue One. See, that was a different era, but same thing. Like that one's right above where the Galactic Civil War was. Basically, that's snapped the Galactic Civil War into being. It ignited it practically. But this one too, I didn't want too much of like a spark of rebellion, and I don't think we got it. I wanted to see the grimy, which the scenes on Corellia were perfect.
Yeah.
It was very dark, and I liked the, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, it just goes boom, right into a really dark tone, and I was just like, okay, we're off and running here, because that's when you get the best scenes, like from Corellia. And I think they even say there was no crawl, but there was some lines, some kind of gave you a heads up on what was happening. It was just like, paraphrasing, crime syndicates are basically
on these
running
mean,
rampant.
These mean streets. That's stuck with me.
Oh, is that? I can't remember exactly what it said, but that's what I wanted, and it was perfect and just in tone. I love the heist scenes too.
Yeah, that was cool.
The other things that I wanted as well, and we touched on it briefly there, was just the development of supporting characters. I'm going to put you on the spot here. In terms of supporting characters from Rogue One, what do you remember, or what are your thoughts on Bodhi?
Bodhi. Wow.
Do you remember what character that was? Or?
No idea.
That was the Imperial pilot, the turncoat that joined Rogue.
Oh, okay, yeah. He ends up dying.
Yeah,
with the grenade and
with the rest. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay.
It's coming to me. I would have never guessed the name, but yeah.
That was one of the. I say this too. I won't go down the line because it's probably going to be the same. Like maybe I don't even know if you remember Cassian or too much even about
Cassian.
Jyn.
I definitely remember.
Okay, so those aren't as more supporting characters. They were more up front, but nonetheless, like I said, I knew we were going to get tons of Han and Lando. I was more interested in seeing what's Beckett going to be, the mentor of Han Solo. Who's Kira, the person who knows a secret about Han's past?
Yeah.
We'll get into Kira more. I'll just say it now, though, too. I think it was one of the best points of the film.
Yep, me too. I think these characters will definitely stick a little bit more and are maybe a little bit more meaningful for me than some of those other ones, like Cassian. Like, I remember the name, but like it's not huge to me. It's not a huge character to me.
Right.
Jyn is hardly a memorable
major
character for me as well. I mean, I almost had to ask you her name coming back here. What was Jyn? Maybe I did ask you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, just say Jyn.
So like, I enjoyed that movie, but they didn't really stick with me. It kind of was more all over the place. This was like a core group of characters where you actually felt and saw their story kind of come together from the very beginning.
It was great development. I loved, like I said, I was explaining to you on the way home here, like I'm a sucker for, I just read X-Wing Rogue Squadron for the first time, which was basically putting the team together story, which was almost like this. They weren't doing a heist or trying to steal anything, but nonetheless, you needed your pilot, you needed your muscle, you needed your ship, you needed the person who could get you in, who knew what they were doing. So I don't know, I love that aspect. And then just lastly, just going back to the battle scenes on Minban, I think it was.
Yeah, that was dark for
sure. It
sure.
turned on a dime too, where I wasn't expecting it. Maybe we could too go into a bit of Han's character.
Yep.
But I wasn't expecting I'm pretty sure the planet was Minban, where we see Han sign up as he wanted to be an Imperial pilot, which I liked that scene too, where we figured out the origins of his last name.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Yeah. I had no idea.
I think I remember somebody mentioning to me a couple months ago that we were going to see the origins of how he got the Solo part, but I had forgotten it, so it did stand out to me as well. But that whole battle scene on Minban with the AT-ST, I think that was an AT-ST. The way that they were moving was awesome. It reminded me of, not to bring too much of the novels into it, but the first Battlefront book, Twilight Company, where it was really grimy, really dark. That was the Galactic Civil War. This was more so just the Empire trying to take control of a planet. So a bit different context, but nonetheless, again, too, I love
just the setting and the feel.
At this point, I think still my favorite era is the Imperial era. In terms of the Clone Wars era is still a lot of fun as well, but the Imperial era is like almost a defining feature of Star Wars for me. So I like it when you get a good look into the Empire. We didn't see the side of it either, where there's been a lot of novels and a lot of comics and things that show the maybe the people who are questioning their roles in the Empire. You had none of that here.
No.
It was just a brutal empire, and it was what it was.
Sure.
So I like that as well. But we got to keep touching on Solo, we got the name origins. There was a bit of differences, and I'm not going to go down the list. This is something we can talk more live on Sunday. Quite a bit of differences from the EU, from Legends, but pretty much the same story of him joining, becoming an Imperial pilot. Ultimately, he gets kicked out. I forget what he says exactly. He wasn't a team player or something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't his piloting skills. It was more of his attitude. But
yeah, for kind of having like a mouth, right? He said he spoke up and
too much of a personality or something like that.
Thought on his own or something like that.
Yeah, so there are differences, especially when it comes to Chewbacca, with like how he meets Chewbacca. What'd you think of that scene where he gets thrown down into the pit and has to...
I thought that was kind of interesting how they chose that.
Yeah,
like
it was...
when they were saying the beast and like when the chain was getting... No, I wasn't expecting that at all. And then it's like, whoa, there's like out of nowhere, Chewbacca just shows up. But I was expecting something totally different, not Chewbacca at all.
Yeah, me neither. I wasn't expecting Chewbacca at that point either. I would say too, the biggest feel scenes for me were the ones early on with Han and Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Where they're like meeting each other and they were saying lines like, oh, I forget exactly what they were saying on the ship, but like just to know that they had that pilot, co-pilot, buddy relationship for like the next 50 years.
Yep.
I love those were a lot of fun.
The budding 50-year friendship right from the very beginning.
Exactly.
But it was believable too, like how they met. It
wasn't
together.
over the top.
It wasn't over the top or like really cheesy. Like they were just friends right off the bat. It was kind of cool how they had to work together. They both wanted to get out of there. They were both kind of being...
I thought it was good.
Yeah,
I thought it was well done.
So I thought that was kind of interesting how they didn't make it like really kind of cheesy.
Well, going back to expectations too, that was one thing that worried me before seeing the first teaser trailers that came out. I think that was Super Bowl, so back in February. I didn't want the scenes like Han Solo meet Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Or like Han Solo meet Lando.
Exactly.
Or here's the Millennium Falcon. That type of thing. So in this, the meeting with Chewbacca was just believable. It was part of the story. It worked. It was well done.
It flowed with what was going on. So that was good.
The just in terms, I've written down a believable young Han Solo.
Yeah, very cocky.
Yeah, cocky, brash. That's what you could expect going in. You're getting like the cocky, especially at this age.
Yeah.
I forgot to look exactly how old he would be, but he's got to be like 19, 20, early 20s by this time.
Almost like still naive. Like,
yep, for sure.
Kid doesn't think anything's going to go wrong, or he's always got everything under control.
Yeah, and
you kind of got that feeling from him.
The nice part of it too was it didn't... How do I say this? It set up the fact that he was going to be the good guy at the end in the original trilogy. Like he was going to come back and save Luke. But there was still the cocky, brash young guy.
Yeah, outlaw.
Yeah.
He wanted to be the outlaw.
Exactly. And he was telling Kira, like, I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy. I liked that. I didn't like it. It was like, I know you're the good guy. And he was just like, yeah, you're right. I'm the good guy. It's like, don't spoil that great.
Exactly.
Reveal from episode 4. They really kept it in line, in my opinion. So just lastly, the thing that really stuck with me.
Yeah, this stuck with you maybe more than me.
I kind of, it jumped out to me right when it happened. Other than I should just mention quickly the Han shot first at the end.
Yeah, when you're bringing that up, I know.
Yeah, where he shoots Becca before he can, which is a nice callback to Greedo and the whole who shot first debate. But the thing that really stood out to me too is I think it was Rio's dying words. Rio was just a great character too. I was surprised by how quickly we won't touch on Rio and Val too much here, but I was surprised with how quickly they came and went. But Rio's dying words, I think something to the effect of Val was right, don't die on your own.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, it's kind of a tragic foreshadowing of Han.
Yeah.
But it does depend on your interpretation of Han's death as well. Does he die alone? Technically, he does, because he went off by himself and was back to his smuggler ways without Leia and Kylo.
Yeah, he almost lost his son, right?
Yeah.
To
Well, the
dark
same
side
thing
and-
too is he alone when he's on that like catwalk on Starkiller Base? Is he's looking into his son's eyes? But in a lot of ways, he kind of does die alone.
Yeah.
He loses his son. He loses his connection with Leia. So like through the fun of it all and the cool like scoundrel story of Han Solo, it is tragic. And those words, it was like jumped out to me when he said it. Yeah. It was debate. Maybe you could debate too. He didn't go down that route because he ended up being a hero of the rebellion and met Leia and had Kylo. Mm-hmm. I'm calling him Kylo when they should be calling him Ben, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yep.
But yeah, I love that. It was good. Rio was a great character. I was a bit disappointed to see him go so quickly, but they had to thin that crew. So
there's
Lando,
a few too many pilots.
There's not that much room in the in the Millennium Falcon. But let's move on to Lando here. What'd you think about Lando? Maybe I'll just start off by saying, like, basically everything I've seen with Donald Glover's representation of Lando was saying how great it was, and I mean, I can't argue with it. It was really good.
You really can't. And I think when we started off talking about expectations, I think that was the one sort of expectation that I had going into this movie. Okay, Lando's going to be good.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's see how Lando really is, because that's all I'm hearing about this movie. The rewrites and Lando, that's basically what I heard.
Right.
So I'm with you. Yeah, you can't argue it. It's like they took Lando from the original trilogy and just rewinded it 10 years and then threw it back in there. It sounded like him.
Yeah, he was at his most Lando when he first appears too.
Yeah.
So it does catch you right away. It's like, oh my God.
Exactly.
That's Billy D. Williams.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not too much to say. I'll probably say more on Sunday, but it was just great. I mean, the whole backstory with Han was perfect. The Sabacc game. I like, too, how they did it because we've been hearing the whole time, we're going to see the card game where Han wins the Millennium Falcon. I like that they had that initial scene with the card game where Lando cheats and he doesn't win it there. I thought maybe they weren't going to show it. At some point, I was like, oh, I kind of hope they don't. Maybe we'll see. But once they tease and once they show that much, let's just see the card game. Yeah. And I did like how it ended. But what do you think about a rumored spinoff with Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian in a standalone Lando, a Star Wars story?
It's funny because if you would have asked me maybe after episode 7, hey, what do you think of a Han Solo spinoff? I would have said, I'm not interested.
Right.
Don't find that very interesting. That's generally how I feel right now about a Lando spinoff, I'll be honest. It doesn't really excite me too much. The character's great in the Han Solo movie. He's great when you put him, of course he's going to be great when half of his crew is Han Solo and Chewbacca. And we both really liked Kira, so that worked really, really well. Off the top of my head, it doesn't excite me that much, but I don't know. After seeing this Han Solo movie,
this depiction of
maybe
it.
Maybe they could turn that into something sort of interesting.
They could go so many directions, and the thing is, too, is I would probably lean against it, but that's only for the reason that there's so many stories that I want them to tell.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Because they're doing those two. Stories. There's 2 trilogies too. I don't know if you know, but there's 2 trilogies scheduled, so those are going to be original stories, as I understand. But then there's, of course, the rumored Boba Fett movie, and then the Obi-Wan movie, and potentially a Yoda movie. And now that we've seen it on screen, I'm drawn to maybe that Lando movie that they could do. Yeah. But there's just so many great characters and other stories that I might want to see first.
Yeah.
This movie puts into perspective a lot of things for me. I was more so drawn towards stories like Rogue One, where there are events within the Star Wars universe and we learn about the characters along the way. This more so being a character-driven film, and we learn about like the character unfolding and the story taking place that way. I would almost want more Rogue One type stories, but I am interested to see like potential Obi-Wan film at this point.
Yeah.
And maybe a potential Lando film, a spin-off.
Yeah.
People will be asking for it after this film.
For sure, absolutely. I can see that. And they'll probably make it after.
Yeah.
But give us the Vader movie.
That's what. Yeah.
Where's
that's
the
what
Vader movie? We need that.
Or where's the
Not the Lando.
maybe you like the 100-Year Darkness, which is like the origin story of the Sith. That's where I was a few months ago. But these stories are great too. I'll just say as well, just as a movie with no Force, no Jedi, no Sith, other than Darth Maul's brief appearance. I love that they can tell stories within the universe and not have to depend upon the usual tropes as much.
Yeah.
This gave me a lot of confidence going forward. But let's go on to Beckett and Kira. Let's start with Kira, because I think for both of us, this is maybe one of the biggest takeaways of how shocking that character was so good. How shocking it was that we liked it so much. Yeah,
she, for me, grew on me throughout the movie, and it started pretty high. Like, I really liked the first couple of scenes.
Well, it was also too, just as we're familiar with her too, Emilia Clarke, and the actress,
and I think that's what the most interesting part is. And where I was hearing good stuff about Lando,
right,
you didn't really hear that about Emilia Clarke's character, or
right,
didn't really hear much about Emilia Clarke, about Kira. And it didn't really excite me all that much.
Right.
I was like, I'm going to see her, and I'm just going to see Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to see on screen.
I was wondering if that's maybe what you were thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, is he just going to think of Daenerys Targaryen every time he sees her?
That's literally what I thought. I thought I would see her, and that's all I would think about. But I maybe thought that once.
Right.
Throughout the whole movie.
She had great chemistry with Alden Ehrenreich, I think it is, the Han Solo actor. Yeah, they had great chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they worked really well. The thing for me going in was, okay, this is a character from Han's origins on Corellia, and she knows a secret about his origins on Corellia. And is there going to be a love story? I had always thought that there was, because there was a love story with Leia briefly in the Leia novel that came out last year, and it worked.
Yeah.
Not to spoil it, it ended a little bit different, not very well for her potential boyfriend. But I thought I was fine with if he had a love interest at this point. People might not have been able to see it because of the whole Leia aspects that come into it. But
well, for me too, maybe more as a casual fan, and speaking for the casual fan.
Yeah.
I thought maybe some parts of that might be a little bit awkward and not really buy it, because you know sort of where Han went and where the story goes after, so you see what's kind of happening on screen, but doesn't really mean much and you don't really feel it.
Exactly.
But I didn't think that at all. I bought the relationship right from the beginning. I thought they were going to be just friends going into the movie. Right. I didn't think there was going to be the love interest right from the beginning. So that's why I thought maybe it might be a little bit awkward. But like you said, kind of right from the beginning, I was sort of buying it.
Yeah, and I like how it started out with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had good chemistry right away, and it built right to the end.
Yeah.
I did like, too, if I haven't said this already, that the secret from his past was just that he was a good guy. I thought that was like a good stamp on the film.
Yeah.
Out of everything that happened. But her, I love, too. The whole time I was like, we're going to lose Kira at some point. I was sure that she was going to, if it wasn't to Dryden, it would have been some other way maybe to get out of the whole Crimson Dawn aspect.
And I was liking the character so much, I was hoping that we didn't.
Yeah, me too.
I was I didn't want to lose that character. I wanted to see what was next.
Right.
Because things that Beckett was saying and just like how the scenes were building, and she seemed like you sort of understood the character and you could see where she was going, but then you could tell she was so much bigger. There's so much more going on, and then you see her interaction with Darth Maul, and you just
she fooled me a few times on where she was going and what she was doing, and I love that we didn't get any of the characters out of Rogue One. I like that now they can explore in the canon because we're still about 10 years before A New Hope. There's a nice timeline. It's like, where are they going with Kira and Darth Maul? At this point, is she going to lead? It seems like she's positioned now to lead the Crimson Dawn. Mm-hmm. And I'll just throw this out there too. We had a little bit of a different interpretation. Maybe you thought there might have been some apprentice with her ability. She might have shown something with the Force. That could definitely have happened. I didn't see it that way, but you kind of have to wonder, right?
Yeah, I think
once you throw Maul in there, I think more so just because I know Maul's a little bit more connected to the crime syndicates than you did, perhaps. Maybe I was the whole time I was like, oh, he's just getting close to a Crimson Dawn, another crime syndicate. But
yeah, I didn't know that.
yeah, but nonetheless, it was an interesting aspect. I mean, she goes right to him first.
And then you could, his line where he said, we're going to be working a lot closer. I think that was the line that kind of caught me. And it was like, oh, maybe there is sort of some apprenticeship. Maybe Dryden was the previous apprentice, and now he just lost him. So now Kira's kind of stepping in as the next sort of in line. Yeah,
that's interesting. I'll put it out there.
Yeah,
like I said, I'm kind of leaning the other way, but it's an interesting take. I guess they left it open to the end in a way, but also too from knowing what happens in Rebels, which they're not. That far from in the timeline, that might change it for me. But hey, let's throw it out there. There's lots that they could go with. But just in general, all that aside, I was so happy that they left it open with Kira.
Yeah.
All these great characters now. They could definitely do like a comic run.
Yeah.
A Kira story, and I would be into it. She was the big winner for the film for me.
I'm almost so interested in that Darth Maul connection with Kira that if they came out with a book on that, I would read it.
Wow.
And I haven't read. I'm going to throw that out there too. I don't think I've read any Star Wars books.
Yeah.
With that,
you heard it here first.
Yeah. My review will be on Star Wars Reading Club. You guys can find it there.
Yeah, that's 3-minute review for me. For me, I'm interested in that the most. Like I said, I knew we were going to get a good Han and Lando story, but to see that Kira was such an interesting character.
And I don't want to make it sound like, oh, because it was such perfect writing and like everything was so great, but just seeing like an old sort of Sith, and again, as the casual fan, you didn't really learn all that much about Darth Maul in the previous in the other trilogy,
right?
And now seeing him
prequel trilogy,
and now seeing him sort of in this era,
right,
on screen with a character who is sort of interesting now with the connections with Han. That is really interesting to me.
See, that's such an interesting take too, because I have Maul overload at this point, just outside of the prequel trilogies.
Because he was in the
show,
lot,
but
right?
even if you look at the books over there, like I just read Maul Lockdown.
So maybe it's a little bit bigger for me just because of that reason.
He does have a good run after with Clone Wars and Rebels, but still, if you haven't seen that, you're seeing Maul for the first time since. Could you imagine? Could you imagine, nothing but the prequels, the major movies?
Yeah.
And then you see Darth Maul for the first time, you'd be like, well, what happened with the whole Naboo aspect?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. There's tons of comics and things like that too. Maybe I'll introduce you to some of these.
Some light reading.
Some homework. Yeah. Just quickly, Beckett was great. Woody Harrelson did awesome.
Yeah,
I love that character as well. Tobias Beckett, a great mentor, and really too, the line is, "Once you do this, you're in." It was a great stepping stone from him. They had an excellent. I loved the double cross too. I didn't see it coming, but I should have. Where Beckett comes back.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming either.
Into the yacht, but it makes sense. Like, these are smugglers. Mm-hmm. They're not rebel leaders or anything like that.
Yeah,
it makes sense, and they did have. They had a connection for sure, but he's still looking out for himself, number one. It was just really good all around. I liked the character. I thought he had some good comic relief at times, and then also too had some really great teaching moments as well. So Woody Harrelson was great. I remember thinking initially, I wonder how Woody Harrelson's gonna.
Yeah, in a Star Wars movie.
In a Star Wars movie.
You almost couldn't really picture that at first. But I thought the same as you. I really liked the character.
Beckett and Kira were excellent points for me.
Yeah, sort of grew on me.
It'd be interesting to hear what everyone else. I haven't seen anything other than.
Yeah, that's always the interesting thing when we do these reviews.
I wonder if people like the characters. People might not have liked Kira. It's possible, right?
I know. Yeah, not everything's perfect. And like we're saying all these great things and things we liked, but we at the same time, not everything's perfect, but I think it was good for the movie.
The thing that separates this from episode 8 is it's not as serious within the timeline or the lore.
Yeah.
Like, there's Luke Skywalker, right? Mm-hmm. There's a big difference between Luke Skywalker and Kira.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to get those Luke aspects right. But I thought for what it was, those characters were great. Maybe just quickly we'll touch on just L3, who I knew from Last Shot. I think that I enjoyed the droid L337 a little bit more in the novel. It was great comic relief, but after a while it started being a bit overdone, I found. But
Yeah.
I mean, the droids have been really good comic relief. I'm thinking of K2 and Rogue One. There's like funny, violent droids all in the novels that you see in front of you there too. Mr. Bones, 000, just characters like droids like that. So this was almost another one that added to the list. So it wasn't really a standout in that regard. But I don't know. What did you think after a while?
Yeah, I kind of thought exactly what you were thinking. And even like with the ones you were mentioning, even C-3PO and R2 are sort of good comic relief here.
Yeah, the comic relief was on point a number of times. The scene with L3 and Kira in the cockpit talking about their relationships. With Han and Lando was funny. Kind of like a girl chat.
Yeah,
with a droid. Exactly. Like that was good. Just the whole like compatriots like rise. That it was once on Kessel was kind of like multiple times. And the death scene was interesting. I think K2 had a better death scene. But it was interesting, though, that L3 became part of the Millennium Falcon. I didn't see that coming, but...
Yeah, I know. That was sort of interesting.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, a good droid.
Yep.
She had like some funny callbacks, too. It's like the thing that made me laugh was when I think she turned to Lando and was like, they don't even serve our kind in here.
Yeah.
Which is such a good callback to A New Hope. But yeah, L3, I enjoyed a bit more in the same character in Last Shot. But yeah, good overall. And Dryden, maybe we'll sum it up with him as a character.
Very good. I mean, for what he was trying to play, and where they went with
Paul
that character.
Bellamy, the actor's name, which I think was a change originally from I forget. I think it was Michael Williams, the actor from The Wire and the Boardwalk Empire and a million other things that he's been great in. But that Paul Bellamy is such a he can really turn on the creepiness with his characters.
Those eyes.
Yeah, the eyes
told
will do it.
The story. For me,
and those scars on the face.
Yeah, and the scars. But those eyes, man, they would turn redder and redder as
as he got angrier
the
and
scene would go on. And you're just like, oh my god, this guy.
I was thinking maybe if they could have done a little bit more, but as leader of the Crimson Dawn, he's not in there too much, right? They're working for him, but I was wondering if maybe there was a bit more of a role, but I don't think so. I think just overall, we just say it was creepy.
You didn't really learn too much about him, but like you bought him as the boss.
Yeah,
you know,
he played a good boss.
Like you see that first scene with the political guy. I think that's who it was, and just kind of built from there. So you knew he was. You kind of bought the whole boss thing.
Yeah, it was just a great, interesting character. Mm-hmm. Let's wrap it up here with maybe just the most memorable scenes. For me, it would have to be, and I don't know if it's the same for you, the Kessel Run. It was great to finally see that. And then just Kessel in general. The spice mines of Kessel, again, that's a big thing. I don't know if you would know, just outside in the books. And yeah, it's a major plot point.
But of course, I've heard of the Kessel Run.
Yeah, the Kessel Run.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, and again, too, it's good to know 12 parsecs if you round down.
Yeah, if you round down.
I thought that was funny. The part that they added, I don't think we knew for sure going in. I almost just assumed that we would see the Maw at some point, because I knew those... I think they called it the Maelstrom.
Yeah, the Maelstrom.
That they were going through. I kind of just assumed that was all going to be connected to the Maw aspect of the Kessel Run. But to actually hear, I think it might have been Lando that said it first. Like, that's the Maw.
Yeah, because
that was
the L3 was telling them.
Yeah, that's right. The when he dropped that, I was just like, oh, that was a big geek out moment for me. With the Maw. The way that it looked was just amazing. That whole scene.
Yeah, it looked great. It looked so cool with the Star Destroyer going through it.
Oh,
the blockade.
I know.
I thought that was really cool.
And even that gravity hole. Like the gravity well.
Yeah, that got really intense.
Yeah.
The Maw is like taking forever to get sucked in there, but finally.
I like the whole thing too, because it is a bit of a debatable, what is the Maw? And they thought that whatever that species of space alien was, but that was just a really fun scene, intense. The Millennium Falcon going through and doing the Kessel Run, just great. And I love too Han's cockiness after. He's like, I did the Kessel Run.
Yeah, that
in
was
12.
a good scene.
I was wondering how they were going to play that. I almost wanted him to be. I was saying this to you. I wanted him to be a little bit more of realizing how good it was almost be like somebody like Beckett going up to him and being like, you just did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, and then him just being like, is that good? And then kind of figuring it out, it's like, I just did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, but you made the point too. Han knows what a good time, like a good. Well, the funny thing is too, is it's a distance rather than a time, but nonetheless, like he knows 12 parsecs is good for the Kessel Run. Yeah. So it is almost better that he played it off.
And of course, he's gonna let everyone know how
exactly.
good he did. It's kind of just the Han Solo, thing.
The Sabak game was interesting enough. Again, too, it's great to see Sabak. I could never do well in KOTOR at Sabak, so it was good to see Han and Lando play. But I think that about does it.
Yeah.
The crowd reaction was great. This
was a really good crowd.
Yeah,
it wasn't full, which we were both really surprised with. The theater wasn't full, but it was. You could tell they were fans. They were real fans.
When Deadpool, it's just so perfect as a story. They start playing Deadpool 2. They get that Marvel,
I know.
The classic
From there,
Marvel
everyone
opening.
started. You could tell everyone knew.
Everyone was just silent, and you just hear like, "That's Marvel." Just
and everyone starts freaking out.
Everyone's looking around, but yeah, it was hilarious. It was good. I love. That's the fun thing too. I saw like young kids and dressed as Rey and Kylo, and that was fun to see. But yeah, it was a bit surprising that it wasn't full, and not full, but even just the main
section.
Center part wasn't full.
Wasn't full,
which is surprising. But nonetheless, this was one of like my favorite movie-going experiences with Star Wars.
For sure,
there was a lot of cheering. People, I think the most were. We're definitely into the Falcon and into Darth Maul. And I would say the most.
I would say that they were really into cocky Han Solo.
Yeah.
Whenever like Han Solo would do something or
like a funny
drop one of the lines, everyone would always cheer with that.
Yeah,
so
which
that was
is
sort
good
of
to
interesting.
see.
Yeah, so you could tell people really did like that character.
Yeah, they were into Solo
for sure.
And that funny thing is, I have a good feeling about this.
Yeah,
people got it. People got like how that
was.
Was. Yeah, they understood the line. It's always fun to be around. I don't get to do that enough to be around like nice big Star Wars.
Yeah, that's
fans
the thing. You really don't.
So it was good. It's always fun.
Bring me on.
Yeah.
We've done 10 of them now, though.
We're into the double digits. Yeah, we'll have a bit of a wait for our next one with episode 9, but. Yeah, that was really fun. This turned out really fun for me. Again, too, it was good more so that I kept expectations low, I think, and just had fun. Didn't really do too much. Usually I would jump into a lot of the lore before and really break down some of the EU stuff and Legends materials for Solo, but I just wanted to go in and enjoy the movie for what it was. Will this be one that you watch another time? Do you have that feeling at this point?
For me, yes.
That's
my first. Yeah, I think I definitely will. I haven't, and I'll be completely honest with the other movies. I haven't watched again.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
Yeah, I think this one I definitely would.
Awesome.
I mean, there's some questions that I still have, and maybe some connections I still need to make.
This is why maybe I'll let you borrow my visual guide at some point here.
Maybe I could use the visual guide,
or just watch the videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
or just subscribe and watch. But I think I would. I think I would definitely watch it again. And I can't say that for sure about some of the other ones.
Well, the nice thing about this one is it was fun. Some of them are like Rogue One can be tough to watch because it's like very war centered film and
a tough ending.
And a tough ending, yeah. So this one would be if you just want to sit down and watch a fun Star Wars movie. Like I say that about Episode 3. Mm-hmm. Episode 3, like great fun movie to sit down, but can be brutal to go through the Anakin fall. But nonetheless, me too, for sure. I'm going to see this one again for sure in theaters. That's how much I enjoyed it. But as always, guys, don't hesitate to let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I would love, as usual, we've avoided all of the discussion and topics at this point. So yeah, let us know. That'll be the fun part at this point. I'll also just mention again, I'm going to be live on Sunday. Let me just see what day that is. That's the 27th. So Sunday the 27th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll go live, and again at that point I'll have some time to look through a bit more of the materials and we can discuss it. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this review. Thanks so much. Again, great to have you on to do these reviews.
Thanks for having me. And like I said before, and I'll say it again maybe one more time before we wrap up. Wasn't a perfect movie, but it was definitely above my expectations, and I think for the Han Solo movie that I kind of wanted to see, and hopefully you guys did too. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, because the thing is, I'd much rather the huge Star Wars fans like yourself enjoy it more than I do. So if you enjoyed it, hopefully some of the other people did too. So I hope you guys enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good. I enjoyed myself, and can't wait to do number 11.
I'm looking forward to it again too, and I don't think we can end it any better than that. So I'll just say again, thanks for watching as always, guys, or listening in this case, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. Thanks, everyone.